Hey guys, this is Miss Middleton. If you don't know me, I'm one of the teachers for Earth and Environmental Science, and I just wanted to introduce you to a lab that we're going to be doing over the next couple days, um, where we're going to take the stuff we're learning in class, such as scientific method, graphing, those kind of things, and we're going to apply it to a real life experiment that we're going to do on ourselves. And I don't know about you guys, but I'm a little stressed out. This is a very strange beginning to the semester. And, life can just be crazy by itself, let alone there being a virus running around. So, um, this lab is kind of twofold. One, we're going to hit on the curriculum. We're going to hit on the scientific method. We're going to hit on graphing. We're going to look at those things. Um, but at the same time, we're going to hopefully give you some skills or explore some skills for when things get stressful, what can we do to help it out? So, just as a heads up and a little bit of background information, it says here scientists have been studying the correlation between heart rate and stress for several years. One way that scientists have found to lower a high heart rate after a stressful event is by taking large, steady, controlled breaths. So, I'm just going to flip over here. I want to show you a little bit about your brain. And I know it's going to seem kind of like, oh my gosh, this is intense. Um, but hopefully I can break it down for you a little bit. So, when you are developing in your mother's womb, your brain develops from the bottom up and the inside out. So, when you're in utero, your brain stem is really developing. You have all these parts here, but it's not fully developed. Just like people tell you already, like, your brain's still developing. It's true. But when you're a baby, these um, the simple aspects of holding yourself up, um, other developmental things, it starts down here. And as you get older, you're going to move up, and these other parts are going to develop. Now, you guys are lucky enough that you're already developing your cortex. All right. That's the outer region. That's where you start making smarter decisions. That's where you start learning how to control yourself. Um, and that's where you guys are now. If you have a toddler in your life like I do, um, sometimes he doesn't make the smartest decisions, and sometimes he doesn't know how to control himself. So he's developing this aspect. Now, if we're looking here, there are different states of your brain where you're going to work better and it's going to be more comfortable. For example, if you're calm and alert, your brain is going to be, or you're going to be working up in this cortex area. I feel like if I'm in a really good groove while I'm working, I know I'm working in my outer portion of my brain. Once I become alarmed or fearful, I can't work as well. When I'm calm and alert, that's when I'm going to work the best. When I have other stuff in my life going on, I'm going to start sinking down into this, and it's going to make me not as creative, all right? Or able to think through problems well. If you're like me, um, if I have too much going on, I have a hard time focusing on doing a project well. So, and that's because I have all this other stuff going on, and I start sinking down into these more basic emotions. So, if you come into school, and I personally already feel like I'm in a more emotional state because we have a lot of other things going on in our lives. Everyone does. So you might be down here. And so it might be hard to think creatively. So, some of the tools that we're going to give with this lab are going to help pull you out of these areas and come up to this area here. Another thing that these different layers of your brain deal with, if you've ever been mad before, And in a moment of anger, you do something really stupid. And I mean, I've done it. Everyone has done it where they're fired up about something or you're angry about something and you do something stupid. Like, we've all been there. All right. And that's because you're not in your calm, collected state. You're stressed out. And that pulls you down into this area where you might not be thinking to your full capacity. Um, all right. So, what we're also looking at, and this ties directly to our lab, is that when you're calm and collected, you're alert and you're able to do more, and your heart rate is calmer. Okay. Um, that's what our lab is looking at. Scientifically, if you're calm and alert, your heart rate's going to be down a little bit. So we're going to see and we're going to learn about ways that maybe we can control our heart rate when things get stressful so that we do better in school. This is, and the, let me back up. One of the reasons we're doing this is because you are becoming young adults. You need to be able to have skills to, one, not only help yourself succeed. So if you have a lot of stuff going on, how can you take a break from that so that you do better? Also, you might have friends, or you might be walking down the hallway and your friend is getting fired up about a text that they just really, or just came across, or just got. That, what you can do, the things that we're teaching you with this, is not only to help yourself, but you can help the people around you. So, some of these exercises are going to be kind of weird and interesting, but they are going to be super helpful not only for you, but hopefully for the people around you. Okay, so we will be taking the next couple of days to find your initial heart rate and see how much a calming practice can alter your heart rate. So different things work for different people. So we're going to do a couple different breathing exercises to see what works best for you. That way, if you get stressed out as we're going through school, as we're going through life, you might have find something that works for you to calm yourself down so that you think clearly. So this right here, I don't like this diagram, but in order to find your heart rate, if we look at this chart, it's always beats per minute. All right, so we're going to be doing this for a minute, but there's two ways you can find your heart rate. So if you look right here, you have this tube, which, like, if you swallow, that's where you swallow food. All right, it's kind of hard. Don't push too hard on it. But what you're going to do is you're going to, on either side, there's arteries that you can find your heart rate on. And I always take two fingers. Don't use your thumb. You have your own heartbeat in that. So if you are using your thumb, it's going to mess up how you're taking. You might feel your heartbeat in here and you might feel your heartbeat there, and it'll get confusing. So use two fingers. And I find my big old tube in the middle there, and I slide over to the side. And you want to push firmly, but not too hard. Because I found if I push too hard, I can't find it. But if I'm gentle in it, I can find it. So I found it right now. Hopefully you can. That's one method. So again, you find that big tube in the middle and you can slide to either side. And once you find your heart rate, we'll all start counting together, or you can count for a minute. Either way, you're just counting how many beats are going within a minute. The other way to find your heart rate is, again, I don't like that picture. You're going to, what you might see, try and show you. I have this really intense tendon right here. It's like kind of spongy, but it's kind of firm. All right, I don't know if you can see that well. What you're going to do is you're going to take your hand, your other hand, and wrap it around to the other side. And right below where your thumb bone meets your wrist, and right next to that tendon, if you push gently, I can feel it already. This one is easier for me for some reason, but I can feel my heart beating. I can feel the beats right there. And that for me is a lot easier. Wrapping my hand around the other hand is a lot easier than trying to find it this way because you're pushing down on this. It's going to add a little friction. So just gently lay it on there. You should be able to find your heartbeat. Yeah. And so you're just going to take your heartbeat for a whole minute, count how many beats go by, and then we'll try each day. So you're gonna come in, do your warm up, I'm sure, or your bell ringer. Take your heart rate, and then we'll do some breathing exercises. Here are the breathing exercises. And then we'll take our heart rate again. So twice in a day, you're gonna be finding your pulse either on your neck or on your wrist, counting that and then figuring out the change in your heart rate, which is your final minus initial. And then you're going to write down, did it increase? Did this breathing exercise increase my heart rate or did it decrease my heart rate? All right. It might be helpful too to take note if there was a stressful event on one of these days that could skew your data. So if you have a test or if you were running late and you were running down the hall, that's going to change your heart rate. Or if you're having a day where you feel like you can't get anything right, that could raise your stress level and change your pulse or your heart rate. So I don't know. I think when I fill this out with my classes, I'm going to write that down here. Just, hey, these are some things that were happening that day that could have altered my stress level and therefore my heart rate. Okay. Anyway, that's all that we're going to start with. After you finish that, you're going to have some conclusion questions, and we're going to graph later using our data. We'll make a graph of it so that we have a better picture of what's actually been going on. All right. I hope that was helpful, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.